right? Hello. Welcome to When Black Women Speak. We are in season, 2, dos, deva, whatever language you in. We in that second one. Episode number 1, as we dive deep in and discuss what? Black reviewers' guilt. Today on the 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s, we have Shay with the hobbies, who's also the creator of what? Missy, Elliott, Readalong, the greatest hit tour, which starts what? Tomorrow. I love you. Tomorrow. You're only a day away. Okay, just kidding. But for real, we got that. We have co-hosts of said Readalong, the fingers, trying to get the fingers right, Britt Riley. Both of these lovely human beings are authors. And I just want y'all to keep your eyes on the prize. Amen. And the prize is the debut novel. Amen. That is the prize. So we're going to let them introduce themselves a little bit more, and maybe I can stop being so hype.
Hopefully not. Keep that energy. You know I love a good musical. So, hi, I'm Britt. Channel is Britt Riordan. At this point, you know it's a book and author tube. Also, at this point, ABCD 1, 2, 3, 4. If you know, you know. Definitely head on over there, and if you have not subscribed, definitely subscribe, and then we can be internet friends, firm boundaries. And then when you do that, you can ring that bell, and you won't miss a single upload or live. Thanks so much.
Hi everybody, I'm Cachet, and the person that has to follow up both of those intros. And so I'm going to be a little less musical and say I write short stories, poetry, and the occasional blog post. Is it January 31st and have I still not come up with my new 2022 intro? I sure have not, but that's neither here nor there. Tomorrow is the first day of my favorite month of the year, Black History Month, and your girl is ready to read everything Black with a big B. Join me.
All right, y'all. Let's just start off with an intro before we get started. How's everybody doing? Let us know how you're doing as we stepped into this New Year's on the 31st day. Just let us know how y'all doing. I don't know what else to say is like an intro.
I just say if it's your first time here, you're in for a treat. When Black Women Speak has been one of my favorite collaborations of 2021 to make its way into 2022. Tonight is gonna be a little heavy. We're gonna get down to some nitty-gritty topics. So I say that you grab your tea, grab you some water, make sure that you're hydrated, get you a couple of snacks, and buckle up because you're in for a wild ride. So that's my intro.
Amen.
Perfect intro. Let's say hi to everyone in the comments. They are active.
Okay. Hi, Floor. I do have members. I forgot to say that. I always forget to say that, but I have memberships now. You can join if you want. No hard. What is it? What is it called?
No hard feelings.
There we go. Thank you. I tried to give us a better background today. We had us in the dark. The last times I had to bring us to the light. Amen. What do you do? Okay, let's continue. Shomala, hey, about that book life. What up? Didn't I see you last night? Hey Heather. Hey Vina. Hello, Brandy. Sorry, that was a lot. Hey,
For
Chloe.
You don't know, Brandy has dropped her February TBR video. She talking about Blackathon and the Missy Elliott Readathon. So, I mean, if you don't know, now you know. Okay, continue.
You talking about Chloe?
I was saying books with Brandy Shanae. She dropped one.
Yes. Amen. And that's called supportive. Hello, Brit. Brit stays with the fans. For sure. Musical hating Bree singing as usual. I just feel like you a hater. Okay? Hating on me early this month. No, it's not a month. But y'all, I
make me spit out any of my tea on anything.
I saw it. I was here for it, and I was waiting for Bree to say, "Rain on me, haters, now or later." I was waiting on it.
I could have, but I didn't. And I will say, it's not a secret that your girl love a tune coming from this voice. Me, fa, so, whatever the hell with a do. But what I will say. What I will say is, I don't like musical.
For me, it was whatever.
That's what gripped me. I was like, "Where's the dose?"
Really? I just
know what goes in the middle. Shit.
The Doughboys?
Man.
I'm already cursing.
You know what? Here's the thing. If there's one thing the Sound of Music did do is make sure I knew all those notes.
That is true. They did if that was the assignment, they fulfilled it. A+.
No. Hey, Ari.
I love the fan.
I don't even know what song I was singing. So
what song?
I don't know. I have no idea. I would win, of course. So
I have a full barrage of Disney, and they just keep playing us more.
She will win for sure. I just make up shit. That's the thing, you know. I
write songs all the time for my characters.
But I'm saying you have the bandwidth. You got Disney on your side. I'm a lose. Yes. Is what I'm saying. I just be saying macaroni, and then I'm done. You know, turkey. You know, and then I'm out. You know, it's not a.
I need you not to go to the Jarquise School of Pronunciation, because the way you put vowel sounds in turkey that are not there, this took me out.
Chicken. No, okay, well. Such is life. Becca. Oh, hey, Alicia. I'm sorry, I probably didn't say your name. And then, no, we ready. I like it. We ready. Yeah. First half of January was ish because COVID came, but the second half wasn't too bad. Exactly. COVID came and took me out. I'm here for you. My name is Cache, and I am a published author. Amen. Creator. Amen. Won't he do it? The Missy Elliott Readathon. Okay. That is bookish Corinthians 3:7. And 1/3 of When Black Women Speak intro.
You know what, Adrian? I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it at all. I like it.
Last night I was out of pocket as always. Hello. We're also coasting Black Womenathon. Co-host.
Yeah.
You want sci-fi? I thought, right? Sci-fi. Right? Sci-fi?
What is your confusion?
Am I right or wrong? That was my confusion.
About Blackathon?
Is Ari sci-fi team?
I don't know. I just know that Ari is on Instagram. Is an Instagram host. That I do know.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, shit. I was acting like I knew something. I'm all right for the most part. Someone I know passed from COVID, and she was a younger family friend. Besides that, everything is wonderful. I'm sorry, Ray. That's hard news. Yes, I think it was from Annie.
Tomorrow is definitely from Annie. Yeah. I grew up watching the Annie, so yeah, for sure.
Annie was all right. Condoleezza writes, why without it's condolences, y'all. Why did Condoleezza and not them both had this is embarrassing.
I did. I had to get it out for a second. I was like, let me fix my face real quick.
I don't know how I said Condoleezza. I'm so sorry. That was not what I was trying to come out with.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Science fiction fantasy, got you.
Yes, science fiction fantasy. All right. Let's how many books have you read? 9?
Yep, 9. I'm 9 books in for the year so far.
Okay.
If we not on here for like 5 hours, hopefully I'll finish 10 before the month is out.
I like it. Love to see it.
Here's the thing. Freak that we're reading for Crime Readers of Color. If you did not know, I am one half of the creators. She is the other half of the creators of the Crime Reader of Color book club. Our book for February is Freak by Jennifer Hillier. Girl, I read Creep, and here's the thing. I started Creep, talked about it on a live on Tuesday. By Thursday, 6 people who hadn't heard of the book before that live had finished it before me. Yeah. So, yeah.
I was intrigued into it. I got like 10 minutes into the audiobook and I was like, this is good. And then I don't know why I stopped, but I'm hoping to
You had a lot of lives after that. So
I
probably like all the work you had to put in, like, because you had a lot of stuff.
I gotta reschedule some of my lives because that can't happen again. Like I've been live every day since last Friday. That can't happen again. But I do plan to finish Creep and Freak before my surgery.
Yeah, well, the thing for Freak is on the 8th, so it's a week from tomorrow. So
I know, I mean, I won't be there, right? But I do want to finish them.
Right.
I might be lurking just with some pain and just in the back, like.
You know, you need to rest.
I know.
Do that. I'm gonna say rest.
I should just rest before Pat comes at me again in the chat. Pat, I already know what you're about to say. If you didn't say nothing already. All right. You know it. I cannot believe. 5 stars. Wow. So a lot of people finished it. Hello. You read 8. How many did other people read? It is. It's so easy. Especially when I say yes and don't check my schedule. That is the situation. Okay, y'all. So I knew somebody was gonna say it. And it was gonna be somebody. Okay. So, damn, everybody's reading Creep. I'm feeling really behind. 5:25. How many books did you read, Britt, before we start? 15. I read 31. How many did you read?
In the year, in this 31 day period?
Listen, I don't want to be judged.
I don't want to be judged.
Why would you be judged? How many did you read?
I don't know. I actually
at least one, because you read the 100,000 Kingdoms with us.
That's true. I read 100,000 Kingdoms. I read a couple of books from the Amaranthine Saga, obviously. Monthly, if not weekly, reread for your girl. I feel like you shouldn't know that by now if you've been seeing me on these internets. 3, and I'm slow reading Ashes of Gold. Oh no, like 5. Okay. Yeah.
I feel like we've been doing the work this year.
That's good. That's like 1 book a week. That's great for you.
That
is really great. Like, I would not judge you. That is really.
What do you mean that's great for me?
Like, because you were like, you didn't want to feel judged because she said 31. And like 5, like, it sounds like a small number, but that's amazing.
Thank
Man,
you.
ain't nobody be nice. You get on my nerves.
Say it again, Shay.
I'm really hot. I need another popsicle. I'm sticking to it, please.
Not you showing up with a popsicle. Deidre, we believe in you. Now that we 14 minutes, not going to make it 15 minutes.
Oh, yeah, and you read Dead Until Dark. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I repressed that memory. 6.
Whoa. Whoa, because I know how y'all like to tussle. Don't be coming at Sookie Stackhouse.
The truth is, and we can get into our thing. The truth is, I am so sick of people saying that on the internet. I'm so sick of hearing that.
I promise. When somebody say tussle, I be like, here's the thing, you don't know me because I do like to tussle. You wouldn't have said it. Like,
oh my gosh.
You wouldn't have said it.
Like, why was I talking to a friend and was like, the thing is, my critique partner really likes to tussle and they don't know. I don't know why they're saying that.
Man, somebody sent me one of those videos and I was like, I really kind of want to smack the shit out of her now. Like I did. I just was really irritated by the take. I was just like,
I literally was, I feel like they're betraying me when they say you girls, what they're going to get is cachet. And I don't feel like they were really ready for what they could. That's a wide net you're casting there. Not all these girls like to tussle like you tussle. I just feel like it's dangerous. That's me. People live dangerously. That's fine. Take your life into your own hands.
Listen, some people say it and it's good. Like one person was like, let's talk about feminism because we know how the white feminisms women like to tussle. And I was like, yes.
I'll accept that. But the widespread use of it, I'm like, don't have to stop.
It'd be like that. All right, y'all. Black Reviewers Guild. I'm telling y'all, there's going to be a lot of passion in this discussion. I don't even know. Let's just start.
Okay.
And I want people in the comments to also know. Not Shay said I'm going to head out after I said, hey, Brit.
I had to control the heat of my body. It was getting out of control.
I know. I feel that. That is a cute tea kettle. You were right. What I will say is when we put the question up on this thing,
the screen.
There we go. Thank you. When we put the question upon the situation, okay,
the screen.
It is not just for us to answer. We need your input too, because we need to be thinking of things holistically, multifaceted, as being multifaceted and very diverse human beings. So discourse is allowed. Ignorance will get you blocked. I'm sorry.
I'm not, and I'm quick with it.
So let's get into the first question.
Okay. By the way, this is a strawberry cream popsicle. Somebody asked.
Wow. What is Black guilt? Everybody in the chat. What is Black guilt? Who would like to go first amongst us?
I'll kick it off in this particular context. I feel like Black guilt just operates differently depending on what context we're talking about it in. But since we're talking about Black reviewers guilt, for me, and y'all know what it is, all three of us probably gonna have different answers, and that's totally fine. It is what it is, discourse. So for me, Black reviewers guilt is not wanting to speak in mixed companies on the internet about a book by a Black author that you didn't like as much because you feel like you want to root for every Black person and you want them to win. And so you're like, yikes, I didn't like something about this book, or while this book was egregious in some ways, I'd rather not draw attention to that. So I'm just going to be mum and yell very loudly for the books that like are doing what I like, and then not talk about the ones that aren't doing things that I like or are doing things that I actively dislike and find like dangerous or harmful, because we Black together, and I'm not really trying to like draw nothing but love to your atmosphere or anything. But so it sort of is a sort of like censorship process for me, wherein I'm like, I don't want to say certain things about Black creators in public spheres because I would feel like I'm like trying to pull them down. I'm not, but like that's what because that would be a possible interpretation of my actions. I don't want it. So that's me and my popsicle. I speak for the both of us.
Mine is also very similar for me. Black guilt to me in any context would be not wanting to speak on something in regards to the person or persons being Black in a public space, like period. Like, and y'all know me, I'm the queen of I don't say stuff in mixed company that I am not 100,000% sure and okay with. I will also say that for me, it goes even further into me feeling the need to patronize, read, or watch things by Black creators because they are Black, and feeling the need to support them, but solely because they are Black. Hey, act like you've been here before. And so that would be what mine would be, a little bit deeper into that.
Agreeing. I'm like agreeing. So in my mind, I think about a lot of the anti-literacy laws that were in high effect in the 1800s, and how, our ancestors were beaten and mistreated and was killed for even attempting to read. And I think about those spaces where literacy is controlled, and I think about access, and I think about that in comparison to my Black experience and of other people's Black experiences. And when I think of all those things, I think that I have to like make up for lost times. Like I have to go harder than I like gets go hard all the time. And in my mind, going hard means like having favoritism for Black writers. So like if I read something and a Black writer wrote it, I have a hard time placing criticism on their work because of how far we've come and what has been done to us. So I be feeling like I have to like rate it higher than I normally would, or I have to love it. I have to sing its praise. I feel like I can never critique it because I don't want to be like white folks critiquing our words and our stories and just our lives. So I just have this like I don't want to, it's kind of like a weird dichotomy of like I want to but I can't, but I want to but I can't kind of situation. I don't know if dichotomy is the right word, but that's what I'm using right now. And back to what you were saying, like I also, like Shay was saying, like I always feel like I have to patronize and like support and all those in all those ways too, because they're Black, which I think is different from like white guilt, white reviewers guilt. Like it's just they both have similar outcomes, but just different. But that is I hope that made sense.
To piggyback off what you said, I would say that I feel similarly in public spaces. So privately, I don't have an issue doing any of those things that you said. It's publicly where I have the issue. Because privately, I feel like critiquing things that are supposed to be representative of Blackness is, I think, my right as a Black woman. So I don't feel that way, but I will say that I feel just like how you feel when it comes to public facing things.
I mean, you said that. I agree.
Yeah, and Deidre said something like that way down in the comments, so we'll get to it like far later. But she said it's when the space is not exclusively Black that any guilt comes in, and that's what it is. It's like fearing that bad representation in mixed company.
Okay, hold on.
Oh, it's not that one. It's way down.
I'm gonna try to go up a little bit, but it's also that mixed company. It's like if we were not on this live, I'd have been like, y'all know that was trash, right? But like saying that in mixed company or like on the internet, I kind of be like, like I don't want to really engage in that because to be honest, non-Black people like to co-opt the things we say. So literally what we say can be used against us and said out of somebody's mouth who is not Black. And then now we unstarted some shit unintentionally. And now the rain and the fire and all this shit done happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, we got to be careful what we say, mixed company, because that shit will get weaponized so fast. So let's go with some of the answers here. Let me make sure. I know Deidre was the first one to answer, so I'm trying to find hers. Okay. Answer 1. I think Black guilt is, as far as books go, is saying something negative about a book by a Black author. When it comes to books, it's people trying to say you should love a hype book because the author is Black. I think I have the same definition, Britt. I want us to win too, but it ain't winning to ignore the books that are low-key harmful and perpetuating stereotypes. Saying something negative about a book by a Black author that you don't like, feeling like you're not doing enough to hype Black authors, be that certain subset or just overall, feeling wary of critiquing. I often feel like I'm not doing enough, but then I also feel like you're Black. And that's that. For me, it's not feeling a book, especially a popular book, because even though the author and main characters are Black, it feels like it's written for the white gaze. To me, it's about not wanting to be seen putting down another Black person. I think of it as not wanting to tie anything negative to a Black author or book in spaces where anyone can see or read it. And that is true. Feeling like you aren't doing enough for those most marginalized in their Blackness. So like LGBTQAI2 plus issues, disability, etc. And you guys can interrupt if you want to add or anything to it. Black guilt is feeling like you have to read all the Black books, especially the hype books, trying to not down talk or rant on books, feeling like I have to support all Black booktubers. Black guilt is also this, and I'm just going to a little tangent for me. Like Black reviewers guilt for me is when someone just stepped into Black literature and they're not white. I mean, they're not Black. And they're like, oh my God, I'm reading such good authors. Have you heard of this one? Oh, you didn't? They're such great. Da, 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 da. And even though in that moment I do feel some guilt, like shit, I ain't read that book. So that's just another thing. Like I reviewed so many other books, but didn't read that book. That kind of guilt comes to me. Titan is gonna let himself be known. Not saying there is like an amount that is enough, but like you can always do more. I think a lot of us feel like we have to be cautious about critiques, and it shouldn't be like that. Agreed. It's when the space is not exclusively Black that any guilt comes in. I'm gonna just go ahead and star that.
I'll even take it a step further that for me, Black guilt has a second face, and I feel guilty when I don't speak out against something that is anti-Black from a Black person, which is why I do it so often, because all I think about when I don't speak up, in those moments is that I am another Black person, and by not speaking up, that gave you the belief that I agree with what this Black person did. And so that's the other part where the guilt comes in, and not wanting to ruffle any feathers or push that button. Then I feel guilty, like, dang, I should have said something. I didn't say something in that moment. Why didn't I say something?
And see, I feel the reverse, and we'll get into it, but I feel a way. I don't know if it's actively bad, but I feel a way when I notice that I've been talking about Black authors a lot, and that hasn't been positive. So like, I will and I've said this, right? Like whenever I'm like, I always appreciate like the representation that Wings gives us and da-da-da, and I always feel the need to preface that before I say anything about like, but this didn't make sense to me, or Rue is not my favorite character in that duology or whatever, right? Like I always feel that, or when something comes up about, or like Legendborn, which I gave a 4.5, but like the representation of Black people really bothers me. I'm well within my right to voice that it does and to expound on why it does. But I feel like, oh, but am I like trashing this author? Even if I didn't say anything about her, I said this choice in this like that's not realistic from the testimony of Black students that go to that school. And I found it disruptive to me as a reader. It took me longer to read. Like whenever I say those things on the internet, I feel like, I wouldn't say it's as strong as a guilt, but maybe it is. On some days it's a guilt. And so like, that's sort of like, I feel like the opposite. Like, but even if I know that it's a problem, I'll be like, oh, but how does that look? And are they going to think that I'm some sort of just like mean Black girl? Like, that's the other side
That
of that.
part, that ties into my guilt. Like, if I speak up in the way in which Shay just said that it's important for her to speak up, am I now looked as the angry Black girl? So now you're having stereotype threat adding to that guilt. And it's fucked up. It's fucked up. I'm not saying any of this is right. I'm just saying this is like how I'm processing.
I will acknowledge, I completely understand and I get that. I will say that for me, it took me a point in my life that, and it is actually, it's kind of funny because, you know, like I like to watch like thriller movies and like cop shows and stuff like that, right? And whenever somebody gets hemmed up and they're asking you a question, they're like, you either tell me this or I kill you. Right. But like the truth is either way, you're going to die. Like the option is you're going to die. If you don't tell them, you're going to die. And if you do tell them, there's still a really good chance you're going to die. Right. So for me, it's a good chance that no matter how nice I am to you, you're going to see me as the angry Black girl. No matter how much I sit here and I think about it and I take hours before I respond and I pray over it and I call my friends so that I can get the best response and I can do all of these things, you are still gonna see me as the angry Black girl because you're not gonna see all that work I did behind before I ever responded, before I ever critiqued. So if I'm gonna be the angry Black girl no matter what, then I'm gonna say what I want to say. But there's also like a level of life that you have to get to for that's like the mindset, right? Because you still you do get to the point where you realize that no matter what you do, that is how they're gonna see you. Even the people that know you super well, there's gonna be an instance that even the people closest to you are gonna take that thought and you're gonna be like, dang, that sucks. But it happens, right? So that's my thought on that part.
I mean, you're right. Damn if you do and damn if you don't is what I understood from what you just said. For me, there's this weird balance between wanting to see more Black authors strive and wanting to see good quality Black books being chose over mediocre ones. That's a hot take. That's a hot take.
I wouldn't even be mad at the mediocre books if we stopped calling them high quality and admitted that they were mediocre.
So get off the internet. Get off the internet.
I'm just saying, if that was what we did, right? Because when people are like, well, white people can be mediocre all the time. That is so true. Can we just admit that this book was mediocre and that's that? And not try to say this is the best of the best and not call it mediocre? Because that's where my issue comes in. Is if this is what is supposed to be our highest quality, I don't want to see what y'all consider mediocre for real. Because like, so yeah.
And that's sort of even, I mean, I know we have more comments to get through, but that sort of takes us into Black exceptionalism. So maybe we could like squeeze that in as we go.
We can. Let me, I had something that I was going to say about this.
Go for it.
And I feel like I can't. So I'm not. I just wanted to acknowledge that. I can't say it. It's not one of those Brie moments that, you know, I talked to y'all private about. It's one of those moments of like, okay, fuck it. All right. This book.
The Love Songs of W.B. Du Bois.
I am 98% done.
Okay.
It's literally like 30 more pages, right?
Mm-hmm.
This book has won so many awards, have been like, Oprah have raved, everybody and their grandma have raved. And to me, even though I love it, I think it's a really good book. The writing is phenomenal. It kind of is like when we were talking about Sookie Stackhouse, and I was like, I never think about the writing. Oh, I'm thinking about the writing in here. Like the writing, take me away and then read it to me again. However, there are parts of this book that I feel like it seems a little, I'm trying to critique this book. As you can see, I'm having some guilt. There's parts of this book that I feel like is overly redundant in ways that kind of distracts you from the point of the story. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I don't understand some people's reviews. Like, I have not seen, only one person I know who rated this book the way that I have, but everyone else have given this book 5 stars, and I am confused on
here's the thing, though.
How that happened. But hold on.
Okay.
A part of me feels like it's happened because this is a story about racism and slavery and classism and different generations of this family. It's a slave narrative, not narrative, but story, and like a discriminatory and racist story for the most part. And we've heard it, we've seen it 1,000 times before. But I find that when books are packaged like this, people are like, oh my God, it's amazing. It's the best thing I ever read. And I'm always like, is it? Am I making sense?
Yeah, but I was the one. Here's the thing. I don't feel like this number of stars should matter, because we're all very subjective on how we do stars. So their 5 stars might not be the same as your 5 stars, right? Because like for me,
I'm adding those stars to this book got more awards than any other book from last year.
Right. No, I get what you're saying, right? But like, here's the thing. We know personally people who've given White Smoke 5 stars. People who've given Legendborn 4.55 stars, right? But we know that there are things in those stories that other people cannot rock with and would have never given that. So that's my thing on that, is that's why I said I wouldn't get caught up on the stars. I get caught up on what the words of the actual review said. Right. Yes. So if you're reviewing the book, but you're not talking about the things that are problems, then that's when I'm like, okay, did you not see what I saw? But the numbers part is just where I would say if I were you, I would look at like the words that people put in their reviews more than the numbers, because that's just really subjective, right? Because like authors don't ever want to see 3-star reviews. But for us, we think a 3 stars, your book is okay. For authors, a 3-star review will hurt their book more than anything on any platform. They only like 4s and 5s.
Yeah.
Again, it's subjective.
Yeah.
But like, because I've heard mixed things about the love songs of W.E.B. Du Bois too. Also, here's the thing: the book is 800 something pages. To me, you're gonna lose some people in that. You just the book is
like,
you're gonna lose some people in that. But I feel like, am I tripping, or isn't it a debut too?
Oh, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But for me, I feel like this book is more beneficial in my mind and what I've known. So I'm looking at just this shell of a human, nobody else. It's more beneficial to white folks. And I'll leave that there.
I mean, how many books that came out last year by Black authors weren't?
I just feel like it was more beneficial to white folks, even though
other Black girls,
this book, and I would read it again. I don't regret reading it.
I mean, can we go into Black exceptionalism? I feel like we're already tap dancing around it. So when we're talking about like what is tap dancing, maybe doing a little crumping, like we're in the cipher with it. So when I'm like, so what is Black exceptionalism? Black exceptionalism. And Bree, I know Bree has somewhere like the dictionary definition, so we're gonna give that to y'all. But
okay, you want me to put it on the screen?
Sure.
Okay.
You have it at the ready. Go for it. While Bree gets that, so when I think of Black exceptionalism, I think of this sort of gold standard that we hold up, that all things Black need to hit to be worthy. That's just like a very standard definition. When we start getting into like the bookish community, I think that definition has like secondary and tertiary connotations. So exceptionalism is the perception or belief that a species, country, society, institution, movement, individual, or time period is, quote, exceptional, i.e. unusual or extraordinary. And so that's just exceptionalism. Like I said, for me, when we're talking about Black exceptionalism, this is like the dictionary definition, but the connotation is you need to be exceptional if you're Black to be worthy. So like you need to hit this standard or need not apply, the ivory doors will remain shut to you. Like that's a general definition. And then when it gets into bookish things, and the reason I said I feel like this conversation is already like tap dancing around Black exceptionalism, we're talking about books, is because there is a formula to Black exceptionalism in publishing and in the book community. And Bree sort of already alluded to it. It's if you're talking about Black pain, Black trauma, if you're talking about these events like slavery, police brutality, losing a parent, like we see the trends, and there are trends for a reason. Like these books that were like, that wasn't really excellent to me, but it's on this wave that everyone is calling it this amazing book because of the content. Even if the execution from a craft perspective is lacking, even if the politics of the book are questionable, it's giving us this same story that is confirming things that we already knew, or like people in the comments have said, it's for the white gaze. So ironically, a lot of what we see of trying to be pushed as exceptional from Black writers is because it is tickling the fancy of white readers who either don't know that story or for some fetishist reason will only read stories of Black pain and Black trauma.
I don't think that's silly. That's on point.
I don't know. I don't know a Black parent who hasn't told their child that. Like,
you got to work harder. You got to be smart. Like literally, that was one of the sections in this book that had me close to tears. I was like, damn, we've been saying this to each other for centuries.
So I don't think that's silly at all. Like that, it's a real conversation. Like that happens.
Yeah.
Bree, were you gonna do the Black exceptionalism definition?
No, I was ready for you. I was with Britt. Remember, you were different.
Well, so I don't have a definition for it, I guess, because that again, that was why I was leaning towards you, because I don't have an answer for it.
Can I know I just spoke a lot. But I'm thinking from a historical perspective now. So I just gave like my very like bookish of exceptionalism. But what I'm thinking about Black women's intellectual history, and the names of the titles of these books are like running away from me. So like Righteous Discontent by Evelyn Brooks Higginbotham, where she talks about the Baptist church movement, Black women in the Baptist church, 1880 to 1920. Deborah Wilson, I'll put it in the chat. There's lots of different Black historians that have done this work. A lot of it's during the Reconstruction time of 1880 to 1920, not Reconstruction, sorry. The progressive era where all these women's clubs were being created. It happens during this time because of like class things. So Black exceptionalism from a historical perspective, especially when you see like HBCUs come about and women's clubs, sororities, fraternities, Du Bois, the Talented Tenth, that idea of the Talented Tenth is Black exceptionalism. So it's Black people who are educated, articulate, have this certain middle class poise or seem middle class, what's the word? Like upward bound. Like you're not necessarily middle class now, but you could be because you're in the right spaces, right? So that those people, that Talented Tenth, who are like a very small 10% of the Black community, are exceptional because of their education. So my definition of how Black exceptionalism works in the book community is different from the historical definition of that word, which is to say that only 10% of Black people are exceptional, and that exceptionalism is tied directly to education and middle class values. Just wanted to put that out there.
I have another thing is what happens when you don't view your Black guilt isn't tied to Black exceptionalism.
Say more.
So I'm gonna put it in the chat. Oh man. Sorry, y'all. Hold on. Okay, well, clearly, so, okay, whatever. Remember we were talking about this topic, and then Britt, you and I were talking about our definition of exceptionalism. And Shay, you were like, you don't think of those things when you're reading, essentially. Like you weren't thinking about exceptionalism because people like other authors we've mentioned are not an exception, I think is what you were saying.
Oh, okay. So more so I was like, when I was critiquing the author of that book that we know I don't like, I did not feel valid in critiquing her publicly until I read all 4 books. Not because I was comparing her to anybody else other than herself. So for me, it's not you have to be this mark. I expect your book to be perfect prose and this not to be an issue and this. I don't need those things for your books to be a 5-star or a 4-star read for me. I don't need those. I need you just to tell a good story. So for me, I'm not feeling like there's not a I'm not like, oh my God, this isn't Black excellence, so this is a bad book. Like that doesn't ever come into play for me. I'm not expecting that. I also measure, or I feel like I measure things also by like my understanding of the person and things, right? So like I don't feel the same way about certain topics written by a multiracial Black person as I do a Black person that's not multiracial. Like those things don't like come into play in the same effect for me. So like I'm also one of those people that like, again, it's more about the person and the person writing the story. I'm not comparing you to every other Black writer because I know that we are individuals. So I hope that answered it.
It did. That's what I was trying to get out earlier, but I wasn't giving. So I apologize.
I just wasn't catching on. Sometimes
I wasn't setting up the play.
I don't be catching on.
I was shooting flunkies. They weren't doing the Lord's work. But this is what I will say. Walk with me on this journey. I hope I don't lose people on this journey. So we all know that publishing and traditional publishing, I should say, I want to be more specific, and like the book world at whole is heavily centered upon whiteness. We know that. Because of that, I am trying to be in those spaces and support Black authors, right? Now, I do know the people who, whoever it is, decides are good enough to sit at the table with the other white flourishing authors. The Black people who get chosen is like this much, right? So we got Angie Stone, we got Angie Thomas, sorry, we got Nick Stone, we got even Akwaeke Emezi at the table, we got even Tiffany Jackson at the table, right? So for me, I'm viewing that as Black exceptionalism. So the guilt comes for me being like, I can't criticize someone in the bubble when we're already in the small ass community. And then everybody talked to each other. Everybody got friends. So if I wanted to interview somebody, I couldn't because I'm criticizing your book because I had personal issues with it. But you're taking any criticism I say as, hey, it's trash. Now I can't move even within the Black space in the way that I want because I feel like I have to chuckle and jive, whatever it's called. Is that making sense?
Chuck and jive.
Am I making sense what I'm saying?
No, it does make sense, but I just want us to acknowledge that none of us should have to shuck and jive because of someone else's trauma responses to hearing criticism. So
that is also true.
No, like it's definitely
resources.
Oh yeah, just those. Because I couldn't call them to mind in the moment. I haven't had to take that exam since 2 years ago. Let's not have me recall that exam. Anyway, yes, I think. Oh, train is crashing. I just wanted to acknowledge that the response, though, like the critique, has always been a thing. Even when we're talking about historical Black exceptionalism, in Righteous Discontent, for instance, by Evelyn Brooke Higginbotham's historian. And that book is like iconic for Black women's intellectual history. When she's talking about that talented notion, and she talks about how Du Bois makes this notion and the women at Spelman respond, like all these different things, right? So, but when she's talking about those club women, and clubs as in like sororities, church clubs, not like you at the club dropping it low. But when she talks about those club women, there is a response from grassroots activists who are launching class critiques against these women, and not against as in to tear them down, but just to say, so you're saying that you represent the political interests of Black women. However, you are heavily invested in middle class politics, and we can't disentangle that from race, right? And so this is 1880s, 1920s. We are officially a decade after that, but that's still how it goes. When we see people who are sitting at the table, there's always a critique from people who are not invited into the table, who are saying there's some class things going on that disable you from claiming, not claiming, that disable you from actually representing me in full, because I don't have the class access that you have, which has economic and political repercussions, right? So just to say, like what you're saying, what you're like, the guilt that we both feel, like to like, I don't want to, because as an author, I'm like, Tracy Dion is a big deal. So when I'm like, yeah, I gave it a 4.5, and also I think that I have serious issues and reservations with the way that you portrayed Black people and the way you talk about it on social media, the way you respond to the critiques about race on social media, issues and reservations. As someone who wants to do YA fantasy, I have definitely thought like, oh my gosh, what is she gonna say? And
Exactly.
if I ever go into like, I that comes through, and then I think to myself, well, would you have a problem standing in it if she played this video back to you? And I'm like, the answer is no. I would actually be like, well, since we're now on the same page, can you answer my questions?
Not since we're now on the same page. Since I brought it to your attention, I was wondering if you can, take your eyes to section 3, part 3 through 1.
Since we both watch the same video, can you answer that question of whose fantasy you're representing, and also why it would ever be okay to have a white boy tell a Black girl that he was gonna rip her tongue out of her head? And she just reposted it on her Instagram.
I did just see that, and I was like,
immediately. I cannot.
I was like, Brett is about to lose her fucking mind. I mean, her freaking mind. Ooh, sorry, I'm trying not to curse.
Thank you. Yeah, I unfollowed her immediately. I said, see, that is not funny to me at all. It's not cute. It makes me deeply uncomfortable. Like, because this is the historical organization you're representing, and this boy comes through that historical organization. We already see from her family side sexual violence and the confines of historical organization, i.e. slavery, and then you are putting this white boy and this Black girl together, and he's being violent toward her, and it's cute. That is irresponsible. And what? It makes no sense. So anyway, you're right. I was heated, and then I cooled down and said, but I would never, and move on. Yeah. But that is what gets put up as Black exceptionalism, and these things don't get troubled. And that's the issue. Like, there's a formula for making it to that table. And Nick Stone has talked about feeling that she has to represent Black boys in crisis and distress to make it to where she is. So even people at the table acknowledge what they had to do to get to that table, and it doesn't make them feel comfortable, which then makes me confused as to why you're going so hard defending the position when others come to you with questions about it. Because I thought that you understood that what you did wasn't entirely like that you wish that you didn't have to do it. So when people have a problem with the fact that you did it, why are you so defensive?
Which is why I truly enjoy Talia Hibbert. Because people be like, sis, this ain't black love. And she be like, you know it ain't. Like she be like, she ain't sugarcoating this. It's black love adjacent. That's not a thing. Please don't take that. That is not a thing. But like she just be open and honest about what her book is and what her book is not. And I just wish, we would be more of that. I do have 2 follow-up questions for 2 people in the chat. Margaret, I don't know where that came from. Maybe y'all know. Y'all know this.
Upwardly mobile, not upwardly mobile presenting. If I said that, I misspoke. Upwardly mobile, as are you answering me or asking me a question? But upwardly mobile means like you could rise in economic ranks. Like if you're low class, you could become middle class.
Yeah. And then is the Black excellent obsession in a way distinctly Western?
Not at all.
Influence?
No.
And no to what? It's or.
Neither. I don't think that it's distinctly Western or US influenced.
Well, US. I thought us. Okay. Well.
Yeah, I don't think so. Now, and the way that I just explained it of the talented 10, that is specifically U.S. Those people are talking about 1880, 1920 in United States. But if you looked in continental Africa, if you looked in the Caribbean, you could still probably find examples of a group of Black people who are upwardly mobile or are in the top 5 or 3% of the economy, and they have a different lifestyle and a different politic, and they are seen as exceptional. So it won't look the same from geography to geography, but I would argue that you could find it in any space.
So I would argue you wouldn't, only because I think Black excellence is distinctly U.S. because I don't think it's Black excellence. I think it just becomes a class issues only when it's in predominant, like in Africa or the Caribbean, like it's predominantly Black there. In these spaces where there are, I think it's Black excellence because it's not just our excellence amongst each other; it's our excellence among the ranks of people in the country as well. Is my interpretation of Black excellence. Is also why, like, when people talk about blackness is Black explicitly, like calling yourself there is definitely more so a Western US thing than an African thing. You don't necessarily think of themselves as Black, they think of themselves as the ethnicity that they are in the country. And so that's why I think Black excellence is what we have in America. I think in African countries, I think it's more so the excellence or the class system that they are. Like certain people are
okay.
This rank is my only interpretation.
Good take.
Yeah.
I'm riding with it. I'm riding. Good take. Really enjoying listening to the discussion, ladies, mind churning and many historical applications. I think exceptionalism, in a way, is to justify why we deserve a place at the table, speaking truth, to reassure ourselves that the place isn't the result of race quotas or white guilt. I don't know if we quite reassure ourselves, but could be a goal.
I wouldn't say we as a whole. I would say that there are some of us in that do, right? Like I feel like that is why when there are certain Black people who will say stuff like, well, how can racism exist if we have a Black president? Well, you seem to think that because we've reached this thing, that the rest of this thing doesn't exist. Because in your head, the fact that one Black person can do this means that every Black person could, which we know is not the truth. And so for me, that's where I see the, like, to reassure ourselves that no, we can do this, right? Because that's what'll happen, right? When we have men that don't have kids at the school showing up to the student or the city council meeting for the school talking about, I got 3 medical degrees. How would I have 3 medical degrees if racism existed? First of all, don't nobody who's a doctor say I have 3 medical degrees. They tell you what their doctor, what their diploma is in. So let's start there. We're not talking about your CNA license, sir. I need you to get it together. All I'm saying is there are people that use that in this way. So I totally get where you're coming from in it's a fallacy, right? It's a logical fallacy. It's that because Obama exists and we have this. I'm going to tell y'all what Wale said, and I agree with this. What if Barack was all black? Truthfully, would he be a president or just a blacking community? When we have a dark-skinned black man with a black wife as the U.S. president of the United States, then maybe I will feel that we've come a long way. Because the truth of the matter is, by Barack Obama being biracial played a huge part in that. And the fact that he was married to a black woman, because had he been the biracial man married to the white woman, like so many of the U.S. senators that are, he wouldn't have made it that far. Like, it wouldn't be a thing.
I also been seeing, and not to like ruffle no feathers, I've also been seeing discord that I think is interesting. I haven't quite, put my mind on it. And I also think this might be a conversation for mixed company, but I will say the first part. The first part is, not a conversation for mixed company is what I was trying to say. But I hope y'all caught that, even though I worded it wrong. I will say there are people who are saying that would a person who is of enslaved ancestry be able to be a black president in this country?
I'm very curious because so far, no. So far, no. No, so far, no. So. And they got on Aaron Magruder's head when he said that. When he did that, they got on Eric Magruder's head because you don't live with the same, you don't have the same history.
Yeah,
you don't have the same history. That's not you don't have that same generational racial trauma in your bloodline because it's not where you came from, and that's not your fault. I'm not blaming you for that in the least. It's just a fact.
And it goes back to, one of those things I think about, we're just not monolithic. We're so diverse in our experiences and who we are. But yeah, I'm always like, if that person can trace back to the plantation that they worked, would this be the same? But just food for thought. Food for thought. I don't know who got blocked.
Tracy down.
Tracy, I was gonna say, yeah, Tracy.
Oh shit. Okay. Damn. All right. I didn't. My guilt is like, don't talk bad. I just want to tell y'all where it's at. Like, it's real. It's real. It's real.
Yeah.
Has said some questionable stuff too, like how she doesn't write Black love because she doesn't relate. I'm tired of me finding shit out. I can't stand the internet. I can't stand the internet.
What do I be saying, Britt? They should have never gave y'all internet.
They should have never, because people been taking notes since 57.
Because, like, here's the thing. I'll be honest. I did not, when I was a kid, I did not care about what authors I was reading did. I did not care. I did not care. I did not care. I did not care. I'd be wishing that they knew that we didn't care, because the more they talk, the more I'd be like, see, and you, what's done in the dark comes to the light.
Don't it?
It's so much.
I will say, when the authors clap back about valid critiques or misrepresentation, it makes me put their books at the bottom on my reading list, or I just stay away.
Legit had a whole author. I was like, I don't even want to read her, and had to like have a conversation with Britt. Like, okay, maybe I do need to read her because I might have to comp this. But like, legitimately, because her takes were just so bad that I was like, I'm not even going to give you the energy it would take to get upset to read your book. Like, I'm not.
Yeah. I mean, it's it's true. It's one of those things that it's one of those things like what you're saying. It's like my friends who are from the continent, right? Different countries. We talking Ghana, we're talking Sierra Leone or Salon, we're talking anywhere. I never heard them be like, I had to fight for my life as a Black person. Like I never heard them say that. And I feel like we hear that more here. Like in the Black experience here, you have to fight for your life. And that if you get what I'm saying between what I'm not saying is what I'm saying. I couldn't flesh that out, y'all. I had to end it.
And that's okay.
Tally Herbert has done a Black romance.
She said a lot of stuff right after. I think it was the Black Prose Club had their thing with the panel where it was the whatever. I don't even remember what happened. But when the thing with their Black romance panel happened, and someone was saying that interracial love was Black as long as there was a Black person present or something. I don't know. But when it traveled to Twitter, she said something about wanting to do one, but not feeling like people would read it and something. I don't think I've read a Talia Hibbert book since then, though. I don't know if it's been purposeful or if just like subconsciously I was like,
I'm not gonna lie.
Just
maybe this is my age showing. Maybe this is my age showing. But I feel like before I got on BookTube, I was just reading shit. I didn't know a goddamn thing about these authors. I was just reading shit in ignorance. And now that I'm in the book community, I'm following Mug's newsletter. I'm on the Tickety Talkie. I'm on the Grammy Gram. I'm on the Bird app. And now I've found out about their views hindering my reading experience. I feel like a boomer, but I just had to say it. I
really feel like Jordan Ifueko did it right. She don't do nothing on her Instagram even that's not about just hyping her book. But after that, she's going her dog.
Right. I'm with it. So that on the comment that you just had up there a couple of comments ago.
This
one. So this is where Black guilt and Black exceptionalism come into play for me. So in majority of my life, I have been the only Black person to do a lot of things. The only Black person in the room, the only Black woman in the room. And a majority of my life, I've gotten, if other Black people acted like you, or I don't understand with everything you've been through, why can't other like, and so this is where my in your eyes, being an exceptional Black person comes into play. And my Black guilt comes into play because what I'm not going to do is let you use me to be your excuse for why you're racist to other Black people. Because the truth is, everybody's not built like Cachet, and everybody shouldn't have to be built like Cachet to succeed in this world. Like, no, you shouldn't have to go through hell and fight and come out. Like, that shouldn't have had to be my story. It is. And what I'm not going to do is allow you to think that because some other Black person was like, no, I'm not going to fight, I'm tired, that they're less than me. That's not going to happen. So that for me is where Black exceptionalism, Black guilt coincide in like real life for me, because that's my issue. Is do not use Black people who are successful as your excuse for thinking Black people who aren't successful aren't a thing. Because the truth is that is a mindset that y'all impart on the people, right? Because as a kid, I thought that, right? Like when I became an adult and I'm like, dang, I come from 2 drug addict parents and I did this and I did that. And every time I hear somebody complain about something, I'm like, I don't understand because I'm making it happen. What I had to understand is everybody isn't me. And yes, I made it happen and that's amazing, but everybody's not going to be able to do that. And everybody shouldn't have to. And if your thing is you get up every day and you are on time to work and you work your 40 hours a week at whatever place you work at and you take care of your kids and you're faithful to the person that you're with, you are Black excellence, period. Regardless if you're making 50,000 or you making 100,000, you're doing what you do with excellency. And that's the end of the discussion for me.
Well, we're done. Y'all have a good night. We'll talk to y'all next time on When Black Women Speak. We're gonna head out because on period on everything that what Shay just said. I can't echo that enough. Like screaming it. I want to type it. I need it to be your author's note. You know what I mean? Like I need it to be written because I feel a lot of times, especially in my family, people be like, "Oh no, but Bree, you did this, you did that, you have these degrees." Da, 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 da. What that got to do with the stars aligning in Mars? Or when somebody be like, the other person didn't do this, but you're the good black one, the good black one. What you're not gonna do is use my struggle as something to hold against someone else. Like that's just go play in traffic, but for real. But anyway, let's move on. I don't know what these are. Did I miss something? I think so. I don't think so. Okay. All right. I probably missed something. Obama didn't even grow up in black spaces because he didn't grow up with his daddy, and that also plays a role in acceptance, whether people want to acknowledge it or not. And I'm just going to say this. Your proximity to what, Shay?
Whiteness. Y'all know it. It affects a lot of how you move. It affects a lot of how you move.
Period.
And I think that even goes on to what Yanni was saying. This is why, for me, I be trying to like qualify. I be feeling like I be wanting to qualify stuff, and I be like, man, I be wanting to say stuff, but the way y'all don't like to use critical thinking skills. Because here's the thing: is when I think of black technically is an American term. Blackness is a American term. It denotes American people who are black, not black globally. So when Yanni was talking about having a black parent that has the "you work 2 times as hard," that's a black American conversation. That's not a global black conversation. When you go back, like if you're in a place where everybody predominantly looks like you, you're not having conversations about how to be black or what it is to be black and moving around in spaces that you're not in. But I'm always wary of saying that because then people are like, well, you're saying I'm not black. No, I'm saying that black is a ethnicity that is an American experience. It's not a global thing. Like it's just not. But
I just want to say thank you for saying that. Because people like to think our experiences is global, and it's not. So thank you, Yanni. Also, I need to slide in your DM. Don't judge me. I forgot because I thought I figured it out, and it was fake news. I didn't figure it out. So as it stands, I still need help. I'll hit you up later. I've come to the realization that if you aren't in a space, the things public figures say tend to fly underneath the radar. Or under the radar. Sorry, I added underneath. I don't know why I did. Word to your mother. Why can't the rest of you pull yourself up by... If I hear bootstraps one more effing time in this country...
Here's the thing. The rest of you, y'all can't do it. There's a reason that there's one manager and 30 people that work under that manager. Everybody can't get up there. So acting like everybody that black needs to be, the truth is y'all hold us to a higher standard than you hold yourselves. And that's where we just need to be honest.
We just need to say that. Just say you still want us to be working hard. Than you, or harder than you, I should say. I didn't end the live, but that would have been a great point to end it, though, if I'm being honest. Growing up, the only reason I thought I would be able to succeed was because my uncle became a doctor. Didn't just let myself figure out my own abilities and what I could and wanted to do. That's similar to my nephew with me. I had to do a lot of talking with my family of being like, look, success look differently and has so many different paths. Like you do not have to choose Bree's path in order to be successful, which is like really hurtful for the younger folks in your family because people are constantly doing that comparison shit, which is just like really messes you up, your identity, your self-esteem, and such and such. So I'm like, look, nephew, the world's your oyster. Do what you got to do. And now he out here acting with Will Smith. I'm proud. So I'm just out here, proud auntie out here in these streets. Dang, I thought the live was in. Oh, no, it didn't. It didn't. Sorry I played y'all like that. Do you feel like this plays into race being a social construct?
What is this? This that Shay was saying about Black being an American identity? Because if yes, then yes.
If yes.
This something blank being a social construct has always been a weird phrase or sentence to me, because I think that the thing is not social construct. I think how that thing moves is the social construct. Like, I don't think that race is not a thing. Like, you can look and see that people look differently. I think assigning value to how people look differently is the social construct that exists, not that race is. So I don't know if that is supposed to be clear in that sentence, but I've always whenever people talk about it, it doesn't sound like that's what they're saying. So that's why I'm always like, I don't know about that.
Okay. Yes, Britt. Okay, yeah.
Wait, there's some additional?
No, I was like, I don't know if you're talking about what Cache said, and down in the comments actually said yes. She's talking about what Cache said about Blackness, or Black not being like a globally applicable term to every melanin blessed human.
Yeah, it's more so like westernized. So like not just US, like US, UK, like Black
Yes.
people are predominantly white spaces.
Australia. Yeah.
It was hard here too. I mean, it was hard everywhere, but
Cat, speak your truth.
race is 100% a social construct.
Yeah, sorry, I went too quick.
No, it's okay.
I literally went to a predominantly white college and they told me I didn't belong there. But you know what? I became the top student in my class, and all of a sudden they want to have exactly eating your. That happened to me too. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
The way that we had a teacher surprised because there were 4 Black people in her honors comp 1 class, and like the surprise like registered in her tone, and never ceased to amaze.
No. I just got so much to say, but I gotta organize it. Do Nothing by Celeste Heedless has a lot of interesting things to say about pulling yourself up by your bootstrap. I just feel like I have a real issue with that phrase. And then I have a magnanimous issue with that phrase when it comes out of white Southerners' mouths. That's what I'm going to say. And I'm going to leave it there. Race has no biological ground. Well, I have to watch the replay here to listen. Hey, Bethany. Race was made by white colonialism as a divide and conquer method. It's just tribalism. Go nephew. Did I miss something? I feel like I'm missing things. Okay. It definitely depends on the makeup of your country, because my Caribbean mother grew up in a mixed family in a country where there are just as many Indian as Black folks. Yes, I also have some friends like that too. So, really depends. So what we've come to the conclusion is that Shay hit the nail on the head. Are we surprised? That's the big question. Okay. That is the question of today. All right. Did we flush this out?
Yeah,
You
we did.
flesh that out? Okay. There was a tweet, since deleted, that said authors shouldn't make worst/disappointing reads lists. And we agreed that it is not useful and should not be left to readers/reviewers.
So the full question. This is most of the question. So there was a tweet since deleted that said that authors shouldn't make worst to disappointing read lists, and we agree that that's not really useful and should be like a reader reviewer thing. Like, I don't, an author doing that to another author isn't really useful. Leave that to the readers or reviewers. That said, we have spoken about Tiffany D. Jackson explicitly, and I mean with a bit of regularity. And so, if we agree with this statement, why have we spoken about Tiffany D. Jackson so much?
So for me, it was I gave you 4 chances. So like and Britt knows because Britt definitely was there for me reading all 4 books. I legitimately did not publicly talk about it until I got to the 4th book. Because I wanted to give chances, right? Like some books just don't land with you, right? Like some books just don't hit. And then for me, it became a pattern of behavior. And for me, it came to the point where I saw, and this is for me, before I started to talk about her, I had not seen anybody in this space publicly say anything negative about Tiffany. So for me, it was, I'm one person out of a group of 30, 40 Black people who I've not seen say anything negative. I'm not going to feel no type of way about that. I'm not. Also, I feel like as someone who, I don't know about these other 30, 40 Black women, but as one woman who definitely experienced some things along with majority of these characters in this story that she writes about, this being my background, I don't feel like I can personally not say anything. I don't feel like we're using these books to be like protect Black girls, and nobody is talking about the Black girl who's suffering while this woman is making $8,000 a month off of this book about her life. Like, I personally couldn't be the person to not say anything. So that was it for me. I weighed the options. I took the time to see what it was. I didn't just, hey, I don't like this book, I'm gonna trash it. Like, that's not what I'm gonna do. I counted up the cost before I made that decision, and I thought it was a valid one, specifically because when I do get an agent and when I do get published, I don't want y'all to ever bring this girl as a comp. I don't want you to ever ask me, do I want her to be on my book? Do I want her to write anything? Because I want you to know where I stand beforehand. For me personally, at the age that I am and where I'm at in life, I'd rather you know beforehand. Well, we know we can't ask her to do this, right? You just know because you saw it before you hired me. Like, you know, you just not gonna get away with that. It's not gonna be like, dang, I didn't know she said that 3 months ago. Like, nah, you know, because it's already been there, and I told you from jump. Y'all ain't gotta worry about, oh my God, I can't believe 5 years ago Cachet said this about Tiffany D. Jackson. Yes, you can. You sure can. You do. You believe it because you know her. So that's my reasoning.
Yeah, and I think for me, for Tiffany D. Jackson, but also like we bring up Tracy Dion a regular amount too. I just have to constantly be highlighting who we are calling exceptional and why. Because for me, as an early career unagented Black writer, to see so many Black writers that get pushed as exceptional have Black characters surrounded by whiteness is very disheartening, because my characters aren't like that. And if you want to know the full truth, they're never going to be. I'm never going to write a book where there are 2 Black students at a boarding school or a private school, or there's 1 Black girl surrounded by white people for whatever adventure or misadventure we're on. Never going to do it. And so, but those are the books that get pushed as like exceptional and that hit the New York Times bestsellers list. That list is a myth. That not taking anything from anyone who ends up on it, but that list is not based on statistics. It's based on your book being at certain bookstores in the country. It's strategic, not statistical. But anyway, that's a whole other conversation. So for me, when I speak against these authors, and not necessarily speak against these authors, but speak against the narrative that is being overrepresented, it's because I want to highlight, okay, just so everyone knows, once again, we are only accepting the kind of Blackness that is positioned closely to whiteness. That's a very tokenized type of Blackness, because even the Black characters in this story are tokens, because there's only two of them, or there's only one of them, and they are sequestered off, surrounded by these white people. And so for me, when it's, well, if it's not useful to make best of, worst of lists, then why are we always talking about authors and calling critiques to it? Because there are other people out there who maybe don't have a platform and who are just ingesting this, and it's becoming very normalized very quickly under the protections of Black girl magic and beautiful Black covers. But the truth is, these beautiful Black girls are still all into white spaces, surrounded by white culture, and Black culture is not highlighted and celebrated in those books. And I have to say that. So for myself and for other Black writers who are like, is this what I have to do? Like Shay said, you got to count those costs up for yourself, but let it not be said that you never heard anyone point out that you're tying excellence to whiteness once again. Bree.
Nailed it. Okay. I want to say that I know that there are some authors, and both of you correct me because my memory probably not that sharp on it. There are authors who'd be like, I wanted to do this because it was my experience. And when I say they're authors, let me be clear. I'm talking about Black authors right now. I wanted to do this experience because it's mine, blah, blah, blah. But there are so many people who have been the tokenized Black person in predominantly white institutions. And the moves that you made didn't make sense. And I'm saying that it didn't make sense because not almost every person I've spoken to who identify as Black, not almost every person, I just want to be honest, every person I've talked to who identify as Black have attended a PWI, have been tokenized, never moved this way. And it's just like, I get that you want to have this representation, but what does representation look like to you? Is your representation detrimental to somebody else's representation? Is your representation really the kind of representation you want other Black women to see? Because you keep saying like, oh, I do this for Black women. I do this, I do this, I do this, I do that. And I'm just trying to figure out which Black women you're doing this for.
The part that I find super duper interesting is that in my experience in the PWs I went to, the Black girls that didn't hang out with Black people chose not to. And what we're not doing in these stories is acknowledging that that was a choice that was made. Because again, in these situations that we've all three on this screen been in, you find Black people. I have had Black friends who've been in all white sororities who still find Black people because they still want to be around people that look like them. Like the way that we don't acknowledge that some people just don't want to be around other Black people, and that's fine, that's their truth. Why don't we just accept that? Like, is the truth is that you didn't feel comfortable around Black people and that's why your PWI experience didn't include any other Black people? That's fine. Say that. Don't just act like we don't exist in these spaces.
Man, there's so much nuance, I think, that could be had about those experiences. I just feel like, Jordan, you did it. Every time I think about shit, I'd be like, thank God Jordan Ifueko exists. Like, because you did it. You did it. I got nothing. I got no criticisms for you, sis. You did that. We're not going to constantly talk about the mid-level author who most people didn't read. In what sense?
Or we are going to talk about these mid-level authors who are doing the things y'all say that y'all want to see in books, but y'all don't read. Because what we are going to
Can we talk about that? We should
Blood Like Magic don't seem to get no love in this booktube space. It's got nothing but Black family. It's got great LGBTQIA plus representation. Like, I just don't understand. Now, you can have critiques about the book because I have critiques about the book, but the way you don't talk about it at all is weird to me. Because
and
the truth
is pulling down the worst.
Y'all kind of like this Black people in the midst of white people is what y'all are showing me.
What is all you got to do is say you like books that's written by a Black person.
Blood Like Magic by Michelle Sandberry. It's book 1 to book 2. The sequel, the duology, comes out in August. It's called Blood Like Fate. I'll drop it in the chat.
And Lizelle has a. I think we bring them up because they're bestsellers who are held as the standard of Black exceptionalism in YA. I was going to say that. Thank you for saying it.
And part of the reason why I talk about Tiffany is also because Britt focuses on fantasy. So she reads more fantasy. I focus on contemporary. So whenever someone talks about Black contemporaries, Tiffany always comes up, specifically because most of her books are Black. Everybody is Black, majority. So then I'm like, dang, we do ask for a book where majority people is Black, and this is what we get. So that's the other layer on that one for me.
I just want to stick a pin here because we went by it really quickly, but this honestly could be its own writerly conversation. Wrong collaboration. This could be its own When Black Women Speak, because we're asking these authors to tell the truth, and they need to.
Wait, what? Say it so I can write it down. What can be it?
Oh, we're gonna have it right now. But the thing about like Black, we say that we want these different things in Black books, but we don't read them. And we read a lot of these books by like Danielle Clayton and Nick Stone and that whole circle, right? The whole circle, the whole clique, whatever. Not in a derogatory way. I'm all for Black girls having Black girlfriends. But that crew that write books and that have those sort of political leanings, whatever, that say what they say on social media, we see them. We talk about them a lot, or they come up and we see their stuff. They're all over the place. But when something like Blood Like Magic comes up, we don't talk about it that much. And it's just like, and even Ray Bear, like, yes, Jordan Ifweko ain't all over the place on her social media, but like the books are amazing. Beast of Prey by Yonda Gray, everyone is Black in that book. And it's Pan-African in representation. Like, that book is amazingly written. No feedback, really, from me. So it's just like, absolutely, we have to spend time understanding what's going wrong in these books that do get pushed. But are we at the same time spending our energy pushing these Black books that are absolutely doing the work and are having these amazing representation, are giving us what we ask for, so that publishing can see they're paying for this? Like, money talks. They don't care how many roundtables we have about race if at the end of the day people are still buying books from these authors who we love to hate. And not love to hate them like we hate them, but like we love talking about them and critiquing them or whatever. Well, that's still giving them attention. That's still putting the book out there. So I think that both things are important. Like, you can critique something and talk up another thing at the same time. They have to be given equal energy. And if anything, the thing that's giving you what you want should be given more energy.
Oh my God. Yes, as someone who grew up in white spaces, there's a difference between those who sought out Black companionships and those who avoided it.
Went to a homeschool co-op for 2 years. There were 4 Black students, 2 of them being my brother and myself. Had white friends, but best believe the black girl and the black boy who are older than me, thick as thieves. Thick as thieves. Like, no. No.
Yeah.
And I'm 12. I'm 12 seeking out other black people, and you telling me at 18 I'm supposed to believe that there were no black people and you wanted there to be, and you looked and you didn't find none? Like, that's what you telling me?
Or we kind of listen, that's a whole nother thing. I won't even get to it. I won't hold y'all here on the internet. Bloodlight Magic. Say that for the folks in the back.
Actually, no, it's won awards. It's done a great job. That's why it's so weird to me that BookTube hasn't talked about it.
The whole Blackout crew.
Not everybody answered for us. Yes.
Yeah.
The whole Blackout crew. Yes.
That's what I'm saying. We all know who they are.
I need to read this book.
Yeah,
I also need to. I did plan on reading Bloodlight Magic. I wrote it down already. I'm reading too much fantasy. The genre is taking me out. Like, I just need to clean my palate.
My life since Brit has come into it.
What'd you say?
My life since Brit has come into it.
I know. I'm like, I gotta slow it down. And I mean, I know y'all like to tussle, but I'm not reading it for Black History Month. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm not reading it for Black History Month either.
I just wanted to get on your nerves just a little bit.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying that last one had me. I was like, I do want to tussle. You right.
Yeah, I do want to tussle.
You right.
I do want to tussle.
And Within These Wicked Walls, also by Lauren
Blackwood.
Yes.
I want to Bernie. I know I'm not in a place to read it yet, but I do want to read it.
You well read. Yep. Meanwhile, I'm like, not right now.
I had to put down Bat Witch Burning because it was whew.
Listen, I DNF'd it. Don't tell Chloe. I did. I had to.
DNF'd what?
Bad Witch Burning. I had to head out.
I couldn't. Bad Parents.
It's a lot.
It was too much for the time that I was in mental space. And I said,
yeah, because we tried it for Black Queen-a-thon. It was a no, this ain't I ain't gonna do this.
I tried to do it with Chloe. Chloe finished it, and I've been like skirting, and because I tried, and I said skirt. What we not gonna do is that. Not right now. Forging a Nightmare by Patricia A. Jackson. Magic, Dark Magic, Divine by A.J. Loc'D. Yeah, didn't hear much buzz for all of time. I did like For All Time. It's a romance, right?
Yeah, I'm about to read it for Missy Elliott readathon.
I read half of it, but literally that first chapter gave.
Oh, okay. I was like, give me a warning. I literally just downloaded it 2 hours ago.
No. That first chapter, I just felt like I was talking to my friend who's Black and from my neighborhood. That's what it felt like. I was like, ooh, 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 ooh. And I didn't finish it because I was trash. But I need to finish it because the author sent me the copy. That's why. And I'm like, girl.
Also, Kiyosa Layman and dadgummit, why did it just slip out of my head? Long Division. It owes me nothing. Not a thing. It owes me nothing. All things considered. I love it. I
want to read it again, low key.
I'm definitely reading it. It is a reread for me for Black History Month. It was good. I know that Black Love Magic got a lot of buzz at the library. Me too. I do know that at the library where I'm at. But I haven't really seen it much on BookTube.
Oh yeah, like I know it's getting buzz somewhere because it's pulling down awards. So I wasn't saying these books aren't doing well. I'm saying like those are not the books that get shouted out in these spaces where people are reading 30 books in a month. And these titles aren't coming up and being shouted about as much as this crew who were like, oh yeah, so problematic. Well, then talk about these other people who aren't problematic and are giving us everything that we're asking for. That was my point.
Actually, Emery, I want to read Me Moth. That's the verse, right? It's like told in verse. I feel like, and it's like a girl, she got her hair in like a ponytail bun in that one. I want to read that. It looks so good. I really, really want to read that. I love the synopsis of it.
These Wicked Walls, that cover is just everything.
She looks like the author.
Oh.
Which I'm here for. Like they have the same skin tone.
Okay. Exactly. I'd be like, the BookTube community ain't the all be all.
Because my reading is so very different, and I'd be like, no, I ain't read that. No, I ain't read that. No, I'm not gonna read that. No, I'm not gonna like. It's just also whenever we get kind of questions about like our content and what we're doing, like I don't ever feel no type of way. I'm not gonna read that. I know what I'm gonna read, and it's gonna be blackety black with a big old B, like, and that's just gonna be that. There's an article that speaks to Shay's point about successful Black people pulling on impoverished Black narratives for their benefit. Yeah.
I believe it. The thing is, unfortunately, I believe it. Skipping to this, I think, because I've been trying to think writing. Does writing really make it or break it? Because a part of me, I have guilt also. It's not Black guilt. It's like learning disability guilt. I hate coming at somebody's writing because I know that my writing be not given. So I be feeling really hard to like come at somebody else's writing, but that's my own thing.
But also like you're like that's their profession.
That's also true. When you put it like that, that's also true. But I'm just speaking my truth here, Britt.
Yes, go ahead.
So that's kind of where it's at. And for me, Bad Witch Burning writing confused the shit out of me. And I'm just gonna leave it as that. Oh, sorry. With These Wicked Walls wasn't talked about on BookTube, but it was Arise. Yeah. Listen, there's not too many Arise books that I ain't 100% behind. I'm just going to say, Reese been coming. I've been following since book 1 when she came out with Hello Sunshine. And she been giving. Except Untamed. I got some real issues with that book. So that just was not given. But I was like, white woman, pick a white woman. I get it. Bad Witch Burn. Oh, we already. Am I saying the same stuff? Okay, my bad, y'all. Yes, I'm going to read For All Time for the Missy Elliott readathon. Yes, the author sent me a copy also. Yes, because she was on Twitter like, I'll send everyone a copy if you reply. And I was like, me. I think that was when you got it too. Secret Life. I love this book so much. It was given, man. It was just like having a conversation with family member to family member to family member. It was great. Loved it. So have you read it, Yanni? Wow. Brandy, you out here reading all the books. You ahead of the curve. Great read For All Time and With These Wicked Walls. Wow. Pat's really ahead of the curve.
I like how many of y'all are liking me. Y'all making me feel like that might be a good read.
I know. Where they got that? Is that an Audible? Oh my God.
Yeah, I feel like it's on script too. I feel like it might have.
Can y'all talk just for a second? I just need to step out for a second.
Yeah, is there another question?
Yes, there is.
Wow. Well,
So the final question is, how can we undermine Black guilt?
Gracias. You want to go?
Sure. I think talking about it with people that you trust. So there isn't yet a conversation that has aired on YouTube about an author that I have not had prior to that live or video or whatever. Not in the last year. So like my Facts and Factors of Literature Through the Genres, all those videos were actually recorded before I even started my channel. So like all of those straight up from the dome to the YouTube. But since I started meeting people and met Cachet and started forming friend groups, like now that I have people to talk to about that in the community, y'all haven't heard me have a conversation about any of these authors that I have not had before. And that helps me weed out things where it's like, this is a personal feeling that doesn't have anything to do with the author, or I hear that, I receive that, wouldn't say that on the platform, it's company, right? So like having people that you trust to help you filter through whatever feelings you're having, whatever feedback or criticism or things that you kind of like but feel like you shouldn't have, whatever the feelings are. I think talking about that with people that you trust can help you to good night pages and portraits. Having people who you trust to go through those thoughts with helps you to undo, to talk back that guilt that may stop you from saying something where you know, someone like Cachet, because Cachet and I, as you may have picked up, have different experiences with Black guilt, right? But me being like, oh, I don't think I should say this, Cachet may be like, or you should say it because of X, X, and X. And, you know, then I may feel a different way, or at that moment, or maybe eventually I'll feel a different way. But ultimately, I think having trusted confidants to talk about it with is essential.
So I definitely agree. One, I was just taught there's a, you know, wisdom in a council. So for me personally, I'm always going to talk to my people about anything that I'm thinking and feeling before I talk about anything publicly. I think another way we can undermine it is doing exactly what we're doing now, fostering a place where we can have these conversations, where they are still in a controlled environment, even if they are in mixed company. Because the other part of that is guilt comes because things aren't talked about enough, right? If they were talked about and we were moving around in spaces where we felt that we could talk about the things that bothered us without it being hate, we wouldn't feel any guilt behind it, right? So part of what I try to do is to make sure that we are talking about things like in ways that they are, to me, focused on what we could do better and change, right? So like, it's not that I'm just like, I don't like this book. I'm explaining why I don't like this book and where I thought this could go wrong, or this thing has went wrong. Also, I think as far as Black guilt, just because again, this is general Black guilt, in situations where there are things that I don't agree with, I'm of the nature that I'm gonna come to you privately, right? As another Black person, I'm gonna have that conversation about, hey, you know, this might have been a little if I'm in a space to do that. Because again, it's not about the public space. For me, is not about putting you on blast. It's about just acknowledging this thing that is, and I don't have to shame you in order to do that, right? So that for me is the Black, in the terms of Black guilt, of what I talked about, like in personal life situations and things like that. So yeah, so I think again, like Britt was saying, having the conversations beforehand privately with your people. Also for me, the big thing I'm always say is counting up the cost of what those conversations will be, right? Of what it means to have those things said out loud and in these public spaces. Because again, we know one of my favorite things to say is all skin folk and kinfolk, right? So we're not all gonna mesh. We all don't have the same belief systems. We all don't think and agree on the same thing. So there's just gonna be times where we just have to agree to disagree, and that there shouldn't be any guilt behind that. Again, like I said, I think that the guilt for a lot of these things comes because we just don't have these conversations enough. So,
I think. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, Bree is back. No, go ahead.
So, I think for me, I just have to remind myself that I don't always have to give an explanation of why I dislike something. And I feel like a lot of times I feel like I have to be like giving people this, 17 chapter dissertation of why I don't like something, specifically something that's Black related. But I say it with my whole chest when it's a white author. And I just feel like I have to figure out a way to just practice of being like, I liked the book and I did it, and that's okay. And I'm feeling that way. I enjoy the love songs of W.E.B. Du Bois. I also have some personal issues with W.E.B. Du Bois, and I just have to just be like, I liked it and I didn't like it, and that's okay. And like, I don't need to explain it. I feel a lot of times I feel like, oh no, let me explain, especially when it comes to Black authors and the art that they put out in the world. But just like my dad has told me over and over again, not everybody is for you and you are not for everybody. I need to start looking at books with that same regard.
Agreed. Okay, that is our last question, y'all. So thank you so much for hanging in with us. This has been a wonderful discussion. As always, the discussion is made richer by your contributions. Yeah, and we're at the end of the comments, so this is the perfect place to close. And we're actually under 2 hours. Wow. Okay. So yeah, thank y'all so much for coming. I don't know if people want to do outros. I don't really have anything. I'm still Britt. It's still Britt Riderly, ABC123, etc., etc. Shay, Bree, do you have any outros?
All I'm gonna say is sorry I'm not on, y'all. I just for a second just not feeling that great and got a headache. I don't know. So I'm not gonna put the camera on. I hope that's okay.
That's fine.
But what I will say is tomorrow is February 1st. If y'all go hard for Black Aweenathon as hard as y'all went last year, y'all better go as equally as hard for the Missy Elliott Readathon. And I'm going to be watching. I'm going to be creeping. And I'm going to be seeing it. Even from my sick bed, I'm going to be looking. To make sure y'all support Shay, because Shay is just a very supportive person. And I thank God all the time that she is in my life. Amen. And God sends you people for a certain reason. And I just feel like we were meant to be in this space, all three of us, Brett, me, and Shay. And I just feel like it's very important for us to support what we're doing and how we're doing it, and understanding that there was some love, some TLC that went into this situation and went into creating Missy Elliott Readathon. And you know that we tend to support each other in our endeavors. And it just will mean the world to me personally if everyone would just go out and support Shay and the Missy Elliott Readalong. Tag her in all of your photos, your pictures, your TBR. Even if you read one damn book, half of the book, 3 pages, put it on live so she knows it's real. That's what I will say. That's my ministry. Also on, I want y'all to go to Britt's page, because Britt Riderly discussions, it's just gonna get you right. It's just like comfort, like Southern chicken noodle soup that just gets you right and comforting. It might be too hot to the touch sometimes, but you're gonna blow and you're gonna eat that soup and you're gonna be great. So I just want y'all to really rock with Britt, because Britt's rocking with y'all. And boundaries, as she says, boundaries, heart boundaries. Please be mindful of that. This week I will be live on my channel on Thursday, discussing Arusha and the End of Time, continuing the Uncle Rick Readalong, which is Rick Riordan's books. He's a white man, I know that. And then I will be going on live with Books and Lala on the 3rd. I don't know what day that is. Don't quote me. From noon until. So there will be a couple hours of reading sprints for y'all. Sorry, I got a headache. Britt, do you have anything coming up that I should be aware of?
I don't have anything coming up, but we are, because Bree's gonna be in her sick bed, we are pre-recording the next episode of When Black Women Speak. So if y'all could join us for our first pre-recorded episode, we wanted to be with y'all like this because this is amazing and the conversation is dynamic and partially improvised, partially structured, and we really love that. But if y'all could be with us for the premiere, where you're going to try to recreate this this dialectic sort of video in the same way, all 3 of us will be in the chat. It's going to be February 21st. That's a Monday. And so look out for more information on that date and time specifically. It'll be on my channel. So yeah, definitely, if you're not following the When Black Women Speak Twitter, follow that. If you're not following all of us on Twitter, follow us. So yeah, that's that.
Yeah. Also, follow Shay on Twitch. She got a Twitch. It's going down. She Twitch a lot. I don't know if that's what the young folks are saying. Don't tussle with me. They twitching over there.
Okay, so the announcements y'all didn't cover because y'all covered almost everything. Y'all are awesome. So tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, the official Missy Elliott opening ceremony reading sprints. We're gonna get our read on. So come join us. It'll be me, Britt, and Day. On Friday or Saturday, Friday, it'll be the Friday reading sprints for the Missy Elliott Readathon every Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central. Will be coming at you on Britt's channel. Every Saturday, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. We'll be having the Broken Kingdoms N.K. Jemisin read along this month. And not tomorrow, but the Tuesday after will be the second Crime Readers of Color book club. We'll be discussing Freak by Jennifer Hillier. So you still have a little bit over a week to get that. I'm gonna be on Twitch tonight. So okay, yeah. So if you ain't there,
we twitching tonight, folks. And
I'll be on Twitch tonight, y'all.
We twitching
hard. I'll be there tonight. I know. I miss y'all too. Okay, there we go.
We're twitching tonight. And if you want to join the book club, which is we do it on, like a Zoom, a little intimate situation, just send me or Shay your email so we can add you to the email chain situation. All right, y'all. Thank y'all for rocking with us. We had over 60 people at one point. So clearly we're growing. We had like a good 15 at first, wasn't it? Like good 14, 15. We out here growing.
Yes, we've grown. Thank y'all so much. It means so that this would not be happening if y'all not engaging us so heavily. So thank y'all so much.
We appreciate it.
Amen.
Absolutely.
Before we say bye, somebody said I'm coming. Coming where?
To Twitch.
Nah, I can't fuck with it. I'm tired. All right, bye y'all. See you later.
Bye.